Right in front of us is a freshwater crocodile. Now, the things that make this thing so unique: A, it's only indigenous to Southeast Asia. So think Thailand, Vietnam, Bosnia. Right off the bat, when you're looking at it, you probably noticed that the leather is only on certain parts of the animal. That's because the leather trade for crocodiles is so big here in Thailand. Before they sell it for the meat, they harvest all of the leather off of it, and usually it's sectioned into much smaller pieces, but you know me, I just bought the whole crocodile. Most of them get to about 6 to 10 feet, but the really big males can get up to 13 feet and 770 pounds. Even though the males get so large, you usually don't see them attacking humans. The reason for that is because they usually just eat fish, snakes, amphibians, sometimes like a small mammal here or there. However, there is one recorded death of this thing actually attacking and eating a child. It is a small mammal if it's a child, so you can't even really blame them. I've been trying to open this thing's mouth for the longest time. First, I tried fire. After that, I tried thawing it with hot water. It got to the point where I chipped a tooth and almost hit my eye with the tooth fragment. So you see this giant jaw muscle right here. It has a bite force of over 1,000 pounds. Even after this thing is dead, you can't even open its mouth. It's literally impossible. A freshwater crocodile lays anywhere between 15 to 50 eggs, depending on how big the croc is. They'll lay their eggs in like a little mud mound. And then after that, they're gonna stick around all the way until they're hatched. Sometimes people see the crocs have babies in their mouth and they're like, oh my God, they're eating the babies. No, this is just like the safest method of transport because so many other snakes and birds will eat the baby crocodiles. Aside from our one little child that got eaten, there have been a total of 4 other cases of people getting attacked. Every single one of those attacks were because they were guarding their mounds. As long as you don't impede on these guys' territory, and especially their babies, you should be good. You should be able to coexist. Now for the heartbreaking fact about these guys. They're critically endangered. I know, you're looking at me like I'm a horrible human being. They're only critically endangered in the wild. In captivity, there are about 700,000 of them, and people just completely breed them. They're a massive part of Thailand's trade. Crocodile meat is very popular here. 99% of their habitat in the wild has been completely destroyed just by capitalism. Oh wait, are we in a communist country? 99% of their original habitat is completely gone just because cities have been built on all their rivers, swamps, and lakes. Luckily, there's still hope for these guys in the wild because there are several places like Cambodia, for instance. They have completely outlawed it to capture, sell, or trade. Even transporting it is illegal. On top of that, there are several breeding programs in place in hopes that these things will soon flourish once again. Now, when you're looking at the meat of this thing, you have to think to yourself, does every part of this taste the same? And the answer is no. It's kind of like a cow. You know how a cow has filet mignon, New York strip, prime rib? An alligator is the same way. All of this meat is going to be cut very differently and taste differently because of it. Up first, we have the tail. This is going to be the most prized part of any crocodile or alligator species. You could do so much with this, but we're going to be making a crocodile tail steak out of this. Now onto the legs. You see the back legs are much larger and they also have webbed feet. This is because they pretty much use the back part of their body completely to swim, and the front part are like little dinosaur arms. My guess is that the tiny arms in the front are going to be a lot more tender because they're not really utilized as much. We're going to be making crocodile carbonara out of that. I'm super excited about that one. And then the last cut we're going to be trying is the rib of the crocodile. Now the ribs are particularly tender, and for that I'm thinking we're going to slice them up real thin and kind of put them on nachos. I got all these weird Lay's chips flavors because we're in Thailand right now. I'm talking hot chili squid, crab curry, nori seaweed. We're just going to make a whole plethora of them and see what we could do. You need to make sure you cut around the meaty areas all the way down to the bone on every side of that meat. After that, you're going to take a super large knife, something big, you know, and you're gonna chop just right through the bone. As you see right now, I'm going all the way so that only the bone is what's connecting this crocodile's leg to its body. Now we have to try to snap the leg off. Oh! Let's go. And it looks amazing, honestly. It reminds me a lot of the iguanas that I've eaten. Oh wait, I just realized we're supposed to cook the front leg, not the back leg. Ugh, why is it so hard? Crocodile's giving me an asthma attack. We need to do the same thing to the tail. The only problem is that the tail is a lot meatier and has a much bigger bone. Because we want a steak, we want it to be relatively even on every side. I knew this giant knife would come in handy. This is an experience, guys, let me tell you. So what you're seeing, most of this is bone, but this little gooey part right over here, this is bone marrow. Beautiful, beautiful, okay. Absolutely gorgeous. You see it has a nice thick piece of bone marrow in the middle. It's gonna melt like butter into the meat. Last up, we need to get the ribs off the thing because I want my nachos. My thought process right now is I'm gonna go in between the ribs and get like 3 sections of ribs. This is crazy, guys. It's time to cut through bone again. See, that's the strategy, okay? You need to crush the bones with this thing, and then after they're all crushed, you could go in and like serrate it. Look at that, I'm slowly becoming a crocodile cooking pro. Something that's very important to me is that I really taste the crocodile, right? I don't want too many seasonings to overpower this so I can truly get a taste. Because of that, we're just gonna go with salt and pepper for the steak. I've never had bone marrow, so the fact that crocodile bone marrow is the first that I'm gonna try, I'm very excited about. For the steak, we wanna make sure we use a lot of butter. More butter means more flavor. We know what we're doing with this. Big old dollop, and it goes. Ow! That was... Oh my God. Whenever you're cooking a meat, you wanna make sure your pan is searing hot so that right when you put the steak on, it starts sizzling like perfection. As it's cooking, you wanna make sure you baste your meat with the butter. It's gonna give it an amazing taste. You don't wanna cook your crocodile too much. You kinda wanna have it sashimi style. So just give it a nice sear on that side and then you're ready to flip. It kinda reminds me of a fish vibe in a way, mainly because it has that super white meat. You're gonna go right back to basting it as soon as you're able to. We're only doing about 2 minutes on each side so that we can really taste the crocodile and not the heat from the stove. Once your crocodile is fully cooked, you're gonna take it off the stove, and that is a perfect crocodile steak right there. Gordon Ramsay would say so himself. Now for the crocodile carbonara, we need to make sure we get the meat off the bone clean. That way it could actually cook with the sauce that we're making. This is the meat we're gonna be using for the crocodile carbonara. We're just gonna go ahead and lightly put it into the sauce so that the sauce gets the taste of the crocodile and will spread throughout every piece of pasta. Feel free to lightly season this. Crocodile carbonara starts very similar but ends so differently. While your butter is melting, you're gonna go ahead and start boiling pasta. Make sure your pasta water is nice and salty. We're just gonna have a low heat on this because it's actually gonna finish cooking in the sauce. When it starts to get white on the underside, that's how you know it's ready to flip. So we're just gonna put this carbonara right in and we're gonna let the crocodile flavor get absorbed. You can't tell me this doesn't look good right now. Should we try a little flip? Oh! Ow! Burned myself so bad! Once your water is at a rolling boil, you're gonna put your pasta in. We're gonna take a serving of the pasta that we just boiled and put it right on into the crocodile carbonara. Make sure everything is mixed real good. You want the flavors to really melt into each other. Low key, guys, I'm getting good at this. Look, I'm not even looking. I'm not even looking right now. And just like that, we have a beautiful crocodile carbonara. For the crocodile nachos, it's important that you don't actually get the whole ribs in there, right? So you want to make sure you cut in between the individual ribs. Butter in the pan. Oh, 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 oh! Maybe we should move the entire crocodile away from the open flame. Once the chopped meat is in the pan, it should cook pretty quickly because it's such small pieces. Get your favorite brand of chips. Mine are hot chili squid. Oh, of course, of freaking course. It smells horrid. It smells terrible. We're gonna taste them in the order that we cooked them, starting with the crocodile steak. Most things in freshwater don't really have that salty taste, so I'm very curious to get into this. We're gonna cut right into it. Wow, that looks a lot like fish. This right here is the bone marrow, so we're gonna get some of the bone marrow out. Moment of truth, how does it taste? The crocodile steak first. Wow, it tastes like a normal steak. Definitely taste the butter char on it. Very, very tender, incredibly tender. You see on the inside, it doesn't really look like a normal steak. It's very comparable to tuna. It's like one of those meats that really adapts to the seasonings and the way that you cook it. And with salt, pepper, and butter, like, you can't go wrong. It's delicious. Now, it's time for crocodile carbonara. I'm Italian, so I have the pass to tell you whether this is really good or not. Take a few pieces of pasta and a big old piece of crocodile. Oh, that is so awful. That carbonara has so much like mushroom flavor and I like mushroom. The last dish is crocodile nachos. I'll be honest with you guys, I thought I had cheese. It turns out I don't. No cheese for me. It's really just squid chips and crocodile. Those squid chips were terrible. That's 2 out of 3 fails. If you like this video, then you're definitely gonna love this video. And it's like right here. Why are you not clicking it?